On the back side, you have a 140mm fan with an optional 120 mount. I don't think this is an LED fan. I could be wrong about that, but judging from the kind of wires that it came with, it's not attached to the LED fan controller. I think it's just like a regular white fan, which again is kind of nice. They put a white fan with a white case, and it's a nice little small detail, I admit, but it just kind of matches the aesthetic of the case. So, stock fans are typically black. It probably would have looked a little out of place if that was a black fan there. So it's a nice little touch they put a white fan there. Even if it was just a regular fan, they painted it black. Still, it's the small things, really. Anyway, got some rubber grommet pass-throughs here. I hear a lot of people saying that this is for liquid cooling. I gotta tell you, I don't see that really happening. I've yet to see somebody really use this and throwing tubes in and out of it. I think it would look ugly as shit. I don't think it would really add anything to the overall performance of such a liquid cooling system. I think what these are really meant for is just for like if you have like a USB 3.0 pass through, like say your motherboard doesn't have a header for it, your case can route the USB cable out and into the motherboard. As far as I know, that's really what those are for more than anything else, but I don't really see this being for liquid cooling. These grommets actually feel pretty nice. They're pretty sturdy, a little flimsy like the other ones, but they do feel like they could hold their own, especially with the type of rubber they've used. Feels pretty nice. This one actually feels a little thicker. It's just the closer together, but that feels really sturdy here. Here you have your, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10? I can't be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, 9 PCI slots here. And then you have a what's called a Storm Guard here. Basically what this is for is if you're at a LAN party, you have like a really expensive gaming keyboard, gaming mouse combination, and you're worried that at this LAN party, if you walk away from your computer for a second, somebody's going to snag your peripherals. Basically the idea behind this is that you thread your peripherals in through this little PCI slot thing, lock it into place, and then thread it into your motherboard USB slots. And that way everything's just kind of tied together, and they can't just like lift your mouse up and unplug it. They'd have to like undo this, which you can actually get a lock for. You just kind of lock it down into place. That way nobody can steal your shit. So that's actually kind of nice. They have a little Kensington lock thing for the side panel as well. So if that's something that you want to look into, they have a little thing here you can add for the Kensington lock. I think it's called the Kensington lock, but it's just like a little thing here that, it's not a Kensington lock, but it's just a lock for your PC so that, it stays closed if you're not there to service it yourself. Anyway, that really does it for the back. I mean, you have your knockout for your motherboard I/O. That's pretty much it. Power supply mount down here, obviously. Power supply has a little fan filter at the bottom. Not quite as big as the fan filter I have on my 800D, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know that it's even going to cover the full surface of the fan that I have in my AX1200 power supply, but it seems like a decent filter. I mean, I'm not going to complain. It seems pretty nice, and the construction of the filter mounting thing actually feels pretty solid too. I can already see actually there's also some rubber pads here for the power supply to sit on so it doesn't vibrate. So again, a whole bunch of little things kind of come together. It's a very nice touch. So from here, let's pop open the side panel. You see we have our motherboard tray right here. A couple of the CNFs are actually already installed. We have a little bracket here actually to kind of hold the power supply in place, I believe. Maybe that's just to kind of separate the power supply from whatever this bottom card would be, but I think it's just to kind of hold the power supply in place while it's screwed in. Down here you also have a 2.5-inch drive cage. And you also have some optional mounts for 120mm, I believe those are 120mm fans. I'm probably going to take that SSD or hard drive cage out of there completely because I don't own any SSDs, and even if I did, I would probably just hide them on the back of the motherboard tray or something rather than just having them in plain sight. It's just kind of an odd spot. So I think I'm just going to unscrew that. It looks like it has some screws on the bottom to pull those out. Yeah, it's got some like regular, I think, Phillips head screws down there. So we're probably going to pop that out and just throw some fans down there. Might throw some of the blue LED fans down there. Might just leave it with like the X-Cals down there, just kind of hiding, pulling in a good amount of air from the bottom. But we'll see. I definitely am not going to use that. So if I end up not removing it, I'll just decorate it with something. We'll see. And you got your I/O cables here. Like 90% of these are really nice black sleeving, and then you just got like this one cable, which I think might be the audio cable. Has this kind of rainbow colored sleeving. I'm just taking a guess here and saying it's an audio. AC97, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the audio cable. I'm not yet, that's HD audio. I'm not totally sure why, but it seems like every time I see an audio cable, they just have this ugly rainbow thing at the end of it, this ugly little add-on here. So I might actually just cut that off just for the sake of looks. I don't know. I'll do something with it. Other than that, we have the cables for the fan in the back here, that 140 millimeter fan. Again, I don't think that's an LED fan. Looks like it just has like a 3-pin to Molex pass-through adapter. Then you have the 200, I think it's a 200 millimeter fan at the top. Yes, 200 millimeter fan at the top. I don't think it's an LED fan. I think it's just a regular 200 millimeter, but that is a big fucking fan. And it is plugged in right here. And I think this is for the power control, the fan controller in the front actually. So it's actually kind of a nice feature. You got one plugged in. You got another thing right here. So yeah, that's all there is to it. There's a whole bunch of cables here for the motherboard and a couple Molex, it looks like. You got the USB 3.0 cable here. Just standard I/O cables. As I mentioned before, you got your whatchamacallem, 5 1/4 inch bays right here. No toolless design, actually, from what I can tell. Which, for a case like this, I would actually expect some form of toolless design for the hard drive end, or for the 5 1/4 inch bays, but it's not really such a big deal. I mean, let me just take a look at the manual real quick. I don't think that there's any like toolless bay things going on in here. It should be pretty standard, just using screws. It's really not a huge loss, but it would have been nice to have some kind of toolless option there. I did find out that metal thing, though, in the toolbox, those are actually 5 1/4 to 3.5 inch drive adapters. And I think they expect you to actually use the thumb screws for mounting the hard drives, or for mounting the 5 1/4s, from what it looks like anyway. So again, it would have been nice to see some kind of toolless feature. Yeah, that's all. It would have been nice. Not a huge loss. I'm not going to take points off or anything for it, but it would have been a nice little feature there. To be honest, going from the 800D to this, I'm kind of glad there isn't a toolless, because I had kind of a shitty experience with the 800D. It's made of really cheap, flimsy plastic, and it broke, and it's just crap. So, you can't go wrong here, which is nice. So, yeah, it's a little extra effort to get the drives in there, but they're going to stay in there, and you're not going to worry about the reliability. That's just solid metal, so that's pretty promising, actually. Yeah, then you got these hard drive cages right here. The fans are right here. I believe these are LED. These are 120 millimeter fans. Again, they're all white, which is nice. I believe the LED is white as well. I could be wrong. But as I do the full build in the computer, I'll be taking some videos about my progress on it. And we'll take a look at the LEDs, see how they look, and I'll figure out the configuration of that. Behind those fans, you have your 3 1/4 inch drive bays for the hard drives. And like I said before, these hard drive bays are rotatable, so you could actually rotate one or both cages and have the fans pointed in the front of the case, pulling air in. You can have the fans pointed inside the case, blowing air onto the GPUs. You can kind of mess with that. I'm not sure if you can throw fans on both sides of these drive bays. I don't think you can, but I will take a look at that when I pull the other side panel off. Because it would be kind of cool if you could do like sort of a push-pull design here and rotate it 9 degrees, have fans pulling in air here, and then pulling that air more and just directing it at the GPUs. But we'll take a look at that and see how it works. That's pretty much it for this side, so let's move on to the other side. Just throw the side panel on here real quick. And as you can see, the side panel goes on and comes off fairly easily. Very smooth going on, which is nice to see. Kind of like the sliding design over the push button design of the 800D. The push button always worried me a little bit of what would happen if that button just crapped out. Didn't feel like it was not sturdy or anything. It's just that you know, worst came to worst, what would happen? Whereas this is just, again, like metal on metal. You don't really leave enough room for error there, which is nice. Anyway, let's turn this case around and let's check out the other side panel. Again, I took these screws off earlier, which is why I'm able to unscrew them with just my hand now. You know, you get this case right out of the box, and those screws are on there real tight. And actually, I think I accidentally over-tightened this one on the bottom here. But, come on. There we go. So let's get these, get those screws off, and cool. I mentioned before that this side panel has some mesh filtering here. So if you wanted to, you know, redirect those hard drive cages so the fans were on this side of the case, you do have that option there to have the intakes be here, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Let's see. All right, so on this side, number one, I'm already seeing something I really like. These little tie-down points right here. I am really excited about these. I know that seems like kind of you know, a standard thing, but believe it or not, the 800D does not have any of those tie-down points. It's all just a flat motherboard tray back there. So you know, that combined with the bulge on the side panel is just going to make cable management for this case an absolute breeze. I'm really looking forward to that. You know, they included a whole bunch of zip ties. I know I have a bunch of zip ties and twist ties, and now I have just places everywhere, all over this motherboard to tie down my cables however I need to. So that's going to make my life a whole lot easier. Cooler Master, if you're watching this video, which I don't know why the hell you'd be watching this video, but if you are, thank you for that. So a bunch of tie-down points here for all those cables. I mentioned before, you got the two motherboard standoffs already installed. That's really more for the other side. Got these big rubber grommets here. These do feel really thin. I mean, if you look at the rubber here, I mean, it's like, I would say it's about 1 millimeter thick. Maybe even half a millimeter, if I'm being totally honest. It's pretty thin. My 800D had pretty solid, you know, thick, sturdy rubber grommets. But if I'm being totally honest, it was sort of a double-edged sword, because being thicker and sturdier actually made it a little harder to thread cables through, especially like the fat, you know, 24-pin motherboard connector. It's a bit of a pain in the ass at times. So maybe having the thin grommets just makes it easier to work with. I'm going to take a look at that. Got a really nice big one down here. Oh, that's beautiful. I can't wait to use that. You know, I have a modular power supply, so it's actually easier now than it used to be. But oh my God, just the 24-pin alone just would, such a pain in the ass to thread. But that big one down there, that's going to be great to work with. Again, you have these hard drive mounts right here. And for these, and this is actually an all-metal cage, which is pretty nice actually. And again, you can rotate these 90 degrees, I believe. I'm going to take a look at that. I'm probably going to mess around with the fan orientation in this case to get it to where I want to be. So I don't think, however, looking at it now, that you can mount more fans on this. So I think it's just one side or the other. But, whatever. It would have been nice, like I said, but it's really not a big deal. Besides that, I mean, really not much to say on this side of the case. So just cable management. There's plenty of room back here. I mean, I can, at the thinnest part of, you know, back here between the motherboard tray and the side panel, I can fit my entire thumb back there. And then by the hard drives, there's even more space. I mean, there's just tons of cable management room. And, you know, even without that, you have this nice big bulge right here. It's going to be fantastic to work with. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that about does it for this side. So I'm just going to throw the side panel on here real quick. And hopefully real quick. And there we go. Alright, that wasn't that bad. Last but not least, let's just take a look at the bottom of the case real quick. So from here, I'm just going to put it on my lap for a second so you can see. Again, you got this really nice big fan filter on the bottom if you want to mount those 120mm fans there, which I'm probably going to take advantage of. You have one back here for your power supply. And then you got these nice rubberized feet, actually. They look pretty nice. Not too much rubber on it, so we'll have to see how it does with sliding back and forth, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem in my room. Anyway, that should just about wrap it up, guys.